Welcome into this episode of Coach's Corner. Jordan Woodruff with you. Good to have you along. Today's episode brought to you by Winter Road WT. And we're joined today by cross-country coach Wendy Landis. How's it going? We got a lot of good stuff to talk about, but you guys have ended the season, but we'll get into some of that. So what's it like once the season ends?
It's kind of bittersweet. I always like when I'm in season because it makes it go by fast and you're right in the middle of all the excitement of it. But now that we're wrapped up, we're kind of switching gears into track. So we go straight into doing some preseason track workouts and then keeping them kind of in the off season cross country so they're getting that distance. But we start getting some other athletes from sports filter in, so it's kind of a new excitement, I guess, per se.
Do most of your top cross-country athletes also do track distance as well?
Yeah, we pretty much keep the same all year round. We have that core, I can't say core 15 or 20. We have that core 50 or 60 that stay year round. So, yeah.
All right, now let's get into the stuff we're going to talk about. I would say some history made here recently.
Absolutely.
We're trying to talk about when the last time it happened, and we're pretty sure it's been at least over a decade since you've had a top 10 finisher.
Yes.
And you had one this year.
I did. Peyton Price, my freshman, had the sixth-place finish at regionals, and she came in and placed ninth in the state on Saturday. Ran, one of her fastest times, ran at 18:30. And the last time I had someone finish up that high was JC, but she finished 14th when she was a freshman. But, as Peyton came in as a freshman, all stated. So it was pretty exciting.
So what is the ceiling now for her? Because, a top 10 finish, an all-stater as well with that finish.
Yes.
So, and you're a freshman, so you have more you can do. So what's the ceiling for her?
She's gunning. We sent a nomination in for her to run at the Meet of Champions. And so that's kind of the next step for her. And then she will do some of her, she runs on her own a lot, so she'll do some of her stuff. But, she's gunning for even more next year. She wants to finish even higher up. She was like, ninth, like that. Yeah, but we had Adam go into state too, and he even PR'd. He set a PR at the state meet. It's so fast on the boys' side. It's when you start to see that meet, that race goes by really fast. Adam comes in running a 16:39 faster than he's ever ran, and he wants to go back next year. So it just kind of upped the ante for them both to drag some teammates with them next year.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And when it comes to like somebody young like that, we talk about just running, and what it does. You got to stay running, all that, but the experience factor of being able to run and compete at that high level, and how does the experience factor in? Does it help as far as knowing when to make your run? Because all the courses can be different, but still there's an experience factor that I would think a freshman, even though very talented, she's going to have a lot more skill by the time she gets to senior.
She is, and she's going to know more courses in Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. When they're in junior high, they're maybe doing a mile and a half or 200, so they're never really seeing that full big course. And so now she's going to come in next year. We kind of stay towards the same meets. If we go to a new one, it's very rare, but she'll get to know those courses over and over and where to cut inside, where to cut outside. And she'll learn them and have the advantage. But just knowing her when to kick and when to, set her miles is going to be something that we're still teaching her, not to. She goes out and doesn't ever let up. And that's what I love about her is that she'll just, go out and you think that she's going to have a mile split that may be slower, but she just continues to kind of stay up there. But we're trying to work with her on having more of that kick and having more of that finish, and I think that's something she'll learn with time.
What was it like sitting there at the finish line and seeing her finish top 10? Were you counting the bodies, saying 1, 2, 3, 4? Oh, here she is. She's 9.
Yeah, when she came through in that first. I don't know if you've ever seen the Edmond Santa Fe course, but it kind of goes off camp, off or back across the street, and then it comes back in. And when she came through that first mile, they do something cool with the state meet, and they set timing chips out everywhere. So you get live results, even if you're not by them at their mile and at their 2 mile, and kind of where they're at. And when she came through at that 1 mile, I was like, dude, she just ran that time, So we were excited. She was in the 5s, and so she was in that first pack. Ava from Owasso, of course, was leading the pack, and she had her lead, and she was, she's been there her 4 years, and then she came through right there in that top 10, and Coach Barron and I and Campbell, and we were all looking at each other like, okay, she's gonna do this, and then she just didn't let up. she would give or take a few spots. She was kind of getting nudged by another girl, and she's like, I need to be tougher. I'm like, okay, well there you go.
Well, I love I think about it, like if you ever watch distance running, you can get into it because you'll have these packs.
Yep.
And then as the race prolongs, somebody will go back a pack, somebody will move up to another pack. And then once you get to the end, a lot of times, sometimes they'll stay in some packs, but a lot of times you'll start seeing that spread out and the difference in each individual athlete. So it's just, for me, it's fascinating sometimes to watch.
It is. It's fun to see where someone's at in mile to 2 mile. And in the last 200 meters, it seems like you get those sprinters that come out.
Yeah.
And like Adam stayed. That kid, was programmed down to the T with what he ran, PRing at the exact, perfect times. And like I said, that 6A boys race was insane. But Adam, stayed in a pack. And then in the second round, we were like, oh, he's not in that pack anymore. And he had kind of dropped back a little bit because his first mile was way faster than he had thought. And then when he came through on that last 200, it's like he hit another gear and just shot down. But then it was single file, so we could see exactly where he finished.
Yeah. How hard is it for them to run against themselves in a way and not the others? Because that's kind of what you're doing, because if you don't think about yourself, I know the others can pull you sometimes, and you want to make sure they are getting pulled, but they can also, you can get up with that pack that is running extra hard and you don't have the energy to get there and you fade. So how hard is it to kind of stay within yourself?
We teach them in practices. We give them their splits. And then Coach Barron he was amazing to put it out on a spreadsheet for him for a visual aid. And we teach them how to hit those splits in practice and what their body should feel like at that split.
Okay.
And so throughout the season, we're kind of like, remember, you're listening to your body. Remember, you're listening to your body. And we kind of get them trained to where they just feel, okay, I'm at a 540. Or, okay, I'm at a 520. Okay, I'm really faster than I should be. And so we've taught them, throughout the season a lot. We're more receptive with that. And some of them are taking a little bit longer to get to that feeling. But Adam hit that feeling. And so he knew I was the first mile. And he told us immediately, I think it was a little bit faster than I was used to. But, he still set that PR. And so we were like, dang.
It's kind of funny too, because a lot of times there's just some days that your body feels right.
Yep.
You can just go faster,
and you
right?
can just go. They all liked, even though it was regionals, it was cold, wet, and rainy. They were all like, I just felt good that day. Of course you did, because it wasn't 127 in Oklahoma.
Right.
But yeah, this season was amazing. I'm looking forward to even next year. We had so many new coming in, and we had we had our seniors going out, and we had our banquet last night, so it's always super bittersweet about letting go of your seniors. With JC, she's one that's going to continue running. She's going to go to SNU. But then we have, some freshmen and some sophomores that I think will start coming into their own in track and continue. So,
yeah, and talk about the success you have, because ultimately you'd like to get a team.
I would.
I mean, that's kind of the ultimate goal. You've had individuals, but you'd like to get a team qualified to have a chance.
I would love to have it. I think we're getting that good base set. We don't ever have really a lot of seniors. Each year we just kind of have a few.
Yeah.
The classes are getting bigger to where we're having more, because it seems like we're really sophomore and freshman heavy this year. We do have Gabby next year coming back. She just battled injuries with her stress fracture in her foot. But she'll be back full course next year, and she'll be leading as a senior. And then we have our Cadence Carlisle, and most of our regional team is back next year. And then because JC wasn't able to run this year, so we'll have that entire team back. And so the ones that had injuries hopefully won't be plagued with injuries next year. So we'll have more to, kind of battle with. And on that boys' side, it'll be the same thing. Everybody's returning. And so I'm kind of excited. I'm not gonna lie. And we're kind of building that base that we want to see, where it's going to continue for years to come with success.
Yeah. Transition into track now, as we talked about. And that'll be kind of the last thing for you. So here's some of the kids that you see. And I know there could be some come out you don't even know about, but as far as the distance side of things, what kids got. Are they going to have a chance to do something special as well?
I think so. We have those same ones that are, going to compete, and now we get to turn it into those faster relays. And so that's kind of exciting, because you see Peyton and Beautiful and Gabby and JC and all of those have success at their 1 miles and their 2 miles, but now we're like, oh, let's pull 4 of you together and put a 4x8 relay in. So then we can kind of see some of their different strengths come out, to where it's not just running those 5Ks. So some of them may be faster, on the half mile, where now they're going to get to showcase themselves in track.
All right. Well, looking forward to it. Yeah. So, Coach, really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wendy Landis, and thanks to Chris behind the camera. That's going to do it for today's episode of Coach's Corner. It's been brought to you by Winter Road WT. And we'll see you next time. Jordan Woodruff saying so long. And until then, go Cats.